Welcome, everybody, to another movie review. I am your host, Ricky Valera. On today's episode, I'm going to be taking a look at the highly anticipated musical Wicked. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the film, along with breaking down what I believe the Oscar chances are for the movie. Before we dive in, folks, thank you guys so much for the continued support here on the YouTube channel. If you could do me a favor, if you're a first-time watcher, hit that like button. Give me a little subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And then, of course, comment your thoughts once you see the film and see if they match up with mine. Obviously, directed by acclaimed filmmaker Jon M Chu, Wicked is the first chapter of two-part immersive cultural celebration. Wicked Part 2 is scheduled to arrive in theaters on November 21st, 2025. Right? That's almost a year to the date. November 22nd, this Friday, with early screenings on Thursday for sure. Wicked is scheduled to hit theaters. What is Wicked about? Two students meet at Shi's University in the fantastic land of Oz and forge an unlikely but profound friendship. Following an encounter with the wonderful Wizard of Oz, their friendship reaches a crossroads and their lives take a very different path. Their extraordinary adventures in Oz will ultimately see them fulfill their destinies as Glinda, the Good and Wicked, and the Wicked Witch of the West. Obviously, Glinda is played by Ariana Grande, and the Wicked Witch of the West is played by Cynthia Erivo. We have other cast members, including Jonathan Bailey, Ethan Slater, Bonin Yang, Peter Dinklage, Michelle Yeoh, Jeff Goldblum, and so many more. Obviously, this is based on the book that was turned into a Broadway musical, which has been massive across the globe for how it's just been a cultural phenomenon across the board. So the expectations were high for this movie. For me, I wasn't super excited about the movie, but as I walk into every movie, I really hope that the movie is good, right? That's what I want to have. The most interesting dynamic about this film is it runs 2 hours and 40 minutes and is labeled very much a part one. It struggles quite a bit. The bad about this movie is the runtime. 2 hours and 40 minutes. The first 40 minutes of this movie, if you would have asked me after the first 40 minutes of this movie, what did I think? I would have said, throw the entire movie to the wayside. I didn't love Ariana Grande in the first 40 minutes of the movie. It wasn't about the writing. It was just about the songs weren't there, the conversations, it was very off-putting. It just didn't really capture my attention. When you were trying to reel people into this world, and again, never seen the musical, never read the book, but you're trying to balance people that have read the book. And then, of course, the people that have seen the Broadway musical. But then, of course, the people that have never seen any of that, you're trying to bring them into this world for the first time. So you really want to capture their attention with that first aspect of the movie, and they did not do so. They started backwards and then they flash forward a little, or they started backward at kind of like at the end, but then they rewind quite a bit, and that dynamic didn't really work for me. Now, the second act is really strong. This is where the dynamic between Cynthia and Ariana really ramps up. These two are dynamic together, right? The chemistry is impeccable. Like, it genuinely is impeccable. I love these two together. They are the only reason that I have anything really redeemingly good to say about the collective film as a whole, because there's a lot of this movie that just does not work. However, you keep yourself interested because of what these two are bringing to the table. I love these two together. They shine bright. There's a couple musical numbers. There is a silent dance moment between these two that is very raw and emotional, and it really is such a beautiful and profound moment. I just wish there was so many more of these moments and more vibrant levels of these characters. There's so much attention to so many other characters. I really legitimately did not care about anybody else in this film. I thought Goldblum was just whatever. I felt Michelle Yeoh was kind of miscast. Jonathan Bailey's just there. I just I just didn't care. I just found myself so disinterested so many different times. The first 40 and the last 30 is just an atrocious. That last 30 minutes of that movie, I swear to you, it was never going to end. And that was just a detriment to the overall film and trying to get you hyped into the second movie. Now, the second movie does have a vibe of this cat and mouse game between Glinda and the witch. You can kind of see what's coming for those characters. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to be excited about. But ultimately, Wicked the movie, it's fine. It's fine outside of Cynthia and Ariana's chemistry. It's bloated. It's mediocre side characters leave you just exhausted when the credits roll because of that runtime. I will say this: as far as the Oscar chances, I have seen these all over the place, from Best Picture to Ariana Grande and Best Supporting Actress to, we're going to get this across the board. It's going to get 10 bazillion nominations. I will say this: production, design, 100%. Costume, lock it in. FX, it's possible. It's splotchy at times, but I felt like it was pretty strong. For me, Ariana and Cynthia, they're good, but they're not Oscar good. Like, they're not award worthy good. I don't see it. I do see a world where this film makes like $1 billion and it sneaks into the conversation because the Academy loves their musicals. They love the razzle dazzle. They love what this film could bring to the Oscars itself as well. I don't foresee it happening. I definitely can see Best Picture happening, but I don't think we see acting nominations. I could be wrong. I do think it'll carry some momentum going into the Globes. I do think if it does well with critics groups and then the Globes as well, we could be talking about a different type of film. But it's also the type of film that really you could see it getting comedy and musical at the Golden Globes, but kind of really left to the wayside because it doesn't really meet the other acting performances across the board. So I think it does very well below the line. I do think it leads to a Best Picture nomination, but I think outside of that, we're not looking anywhere else. But folks, Wicked does hit theaters on November 22nd, 2024. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below of what you think about Wicked when you see it this weekend. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.